Okay. Can I give you a call tomorrow then?
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Okay, getting ready to go live here in just a second. We'll go ahead and call this regular city council meeting to order, 1800 hours, December 9, 2021. First order of business is roll call. We have everyone here in the chambers with the exception of Vice Mayor Payne, who is here telephonically. At this time, I'd ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation by Reverend Hollingsworth. Councilman Wolford, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. O God of justice and mercy and grace, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction and love. Help us to listen to with understanding and with good help, and to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Guide us to be leaders your people need. Help us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons with the reverence your creatures deserve. Father, renew our strength every day. Give us hope for a better tomorrow. Bless this great nation that we serve, and all those that serve in our military forces. And that with this prayer, that we always give glory to you and your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Item 4 on the agenda will be the consent agenda. Chair will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have any comments or questions on that? Councilman Marsh?
I was absent, so I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Excuse me?
I was absent, so I'm going to abstain from the vote.
Very good. Any other comments or concerns on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we have a vote. All in favor?
Mayor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, Councilman, Vice Mayor, did you have something to add?
I just wasn't going to vote on it since I wasn't in attendance.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we had ayes, any nays? No nays, motion passes. Okay, moving on to item 5, call to the public for non-agenda items. Apparently we have none. Item 6, call to the public for items on the agenda. We have none. Moving on to new business. Discussion and possible action. 7A, Ordinance 2114, first reading regarding condominiums and townhouses. I will read the whereases on this. Ordinance 21-14, an ordinance of the City of Holbrook, Arizona regarding condominiums and townhouses. Whereas people are moving to Holbrook, creating a scarcity for housing, and whereas housing costs continue to rise, and whereas condominiums and townhouses offer an option for those who are unable to find housing or may not be able to afford single-family homes, and whereas although condominiums are defined in the city code, condominiums and townhouses are not specifically listed in any zone. And whereas it is the desire of the City Council to clarify that condominiums and townhouses will be allowed to be built in the city. This would be the first reading, so there's no motion or anything on that. We'll bring it up again for comment on the second reading. Moving on to item B. 7B, Police Department Annual Report, Chief Christensen.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the council.
Thanks, sir.
Chief.
Let's keep it.
All right, thank you for this opportunity. A few things to note, I'll go on the second page. First off is, today we graduated two new officers from the Lita Police Academy in Snowflake. I asked them to come, but it was kind of late on my part, and so they already had plans with their family. Graduation finished up about 5 o'clock today in Snowflake, so I'll bring them to the next council meeting to introduce them to you. We have an officer who we recently hired who's resigning to return back to his previous department. His last day will be Christmas Day, his last working day. Next year in September, Sergeant's going to be retiring, Sergeant Zimmerman, and he's retiring. He's not going to stay on any longer, so we'll have two open positions. We currently don't have any applicants. We had one, but he was disqualified recently. So when Sergeant Zimmerman resigns, we'll have to go through a promotional process to get another supervisor. Just want to give you guys that. 4 of our officers welcomed babies this year into their family. Kind of nice for them, and I got to meet a few of them today at the graduation.
Nice.
So the numbers this year, you can see if you go down the list, our total department activity of calls for service was 7,723, which was a 19% decrease over the previous year. But if you look at the next line, which is DRs, DRs pulled, those are actual calls that are pulled by dispatch where we have to do a report. Those went up 172%, just based on the fact that required reporting to meet the NIVERS specifications for our crime reporting. We had to add, we basically pull a DR for almost every call now, and that's why you see the increase in the amount of DRs that we pulled. Our response times went down a little bit, most likely due to the fact that we had less calls for service over the year. Down to actually 5 minutes is the average from the time we get the call to the time we're on scene. You can see that our thefts increased quite a bit, 9% increase in thefts last year. These timelines go from December 1st of the previous year to November 30th of the current year, so I can give you a full 12 months. Disorderly conduct, those are fights, people arguing, things like that. You can see quite an increase in that, about a 40% increase in those calls for service this year. The one I like to see is the domestic violence line. It went down 32%, which is good. Also our tickets went down substantially, if you see that. And that's just being due to the fact that we were running so short-staffed at the time due to people resigning, open positions, things like that. We don't have a lot of time to be proactive in that area. So that's why those went down quite a bit. Same thing with DUIs. They went down, 30%, just based on the fact that we're responding to calls versus chasing people down for traffic violations. Our hit and runs, which was interesting to me, 137% increase in hit and run accidents. Some of them we were able to detain the people who were involved, and other ones we weren't, based on lack of description or late reporting on the victim's parts. Graffiti went down, which is good. 40% decrease in graffiti calls. We did have one assault with a firearm this year. It was an armed robbery, albeit the firearm was not a firearm other than it was an air pistol, like a airsoft gun, but the victim didn't know that, so it's still considered an armed robbery. If you look on the next page, average number of full-time officers working patrol last year, we had 8 throughout the year. This year we were down to 7. That 7 included myself and the lieutenant taking calls for service. We had 2 officers quit within about a month of each other, plus we were already 2 positions down at that time. We had another on maternity leave for quite a while, and so it put us pretty low on numbers, and so the lieutenant and I did work the 12-hour shifts to help cover. So that averages out to about 1,110 calls per officer per year, which is about 92 and a half a month per officer. We do work 12-hour shifts. That provides the best coverage for the city, plus gives us minimal staffing at night for officer protection. A minimum of 2 officers working to get each other's back. There's a bunch of cases that I kind of highlighted. We had several stabbings this year. An increase in stabbings. I don't think I put them on here on the front, but we had a couple of stabbings. There was one about 2 weeks apart. 2 brothers were drunk. One brother stabbed the other, and then 2 weeks later, the brother who was stabbed his brother in retaliation. This is a family that we deal with quite often, and usually it's alcohol related that we're there, and I would venture to say we're probably there weekly at this residence. We had 2 arsons this year. One was the house down here on Erie that had burned previously in the year. It was unoccupied at the time. It was full of a lot of paperwork, clothing, things like that. And the second fire, it gutted it. It was done. And then we had that recent arson up at the MPC campus of the city-owned building. I had a couple of people of interest in that, but no substantial leads on who started that fire. We do know that it was arson based on the evidence that was located at the scene. We did have a home invasion this year in January. We were able to catch one of the 2 suspects. The person we caught was not cooperative and wouldn't give us information on the second person, so that person was still outstanding. The person that we did catch, however, was a wanted or a homicide suspect out of Winslow. So it kind of worked out good for them and good for us that we were able to catch him. We also had a carjacking at the TA truck stop with limited information that was given out to us by the victims. So information was given to the FBI, and I believe the vehicle was later recovered on the Navajo reservation. Back in February of this year, I submitted the homicide case that happened in October of 2020. The victim was Clyde Clark. That case was submitted to the county attorney's office for charges, and I'm hoping that they will eventually charge it. I do believe, in my opinion, that it had probable cause to make an arrest. The suspect is in custody on an unrelated, well, actually it is a related charge to the homicide, but I'll just leave it at that. He's in custody, currently serving 4.5 years. Another interesting thing that was new this year is we had a lot of train hoppers riding the train from New Mexico into Holbrook. We arrested 2 that came through, and then later on, I think it was July of this year, we had a weird call of a subject that staggered into a neighbor's yard down on 7th Street, had a large gash on his head, missing a shoe, missing a shirt. We believe that he jumped the train in Albuquerque and jumped off the moving train. He was very disoriented. We couldn't get a lot of information from him, but he was pretty banged up. But he did live in Albuquerque, and so we believe that he was a train jumper. We did have a pedestrian killed by a train. He was walking west of town past the squash bridge, right in the middle of the two tracks. And the westbound train blew its horn, and he just kept looking forward and kept walking. He most likely a suicide, or maybe so intoxicated he didn't know where he was, but he did die. So we had several burglaries. Esmeralda's salon was burglarized this year. We did make an arrest in that case. And then there was a case that I worked that involved multiple vehicle burglaries in the area of Encanto and Anita during the night. We were able to develop a suspect in that case the following morning and made an arrest in that case, and he confessed to all 5 cases and was charged for those cases. I don't know the status yet. I haven't got the final disposition. I haven't been called to court to testify yet, but he was charged and later released. And I'm open for any questions if you have any.
Anybody have any questions for the chief?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Councilman Seymour?
Maybe related to that last point, can you speak to the prevalence of catalytic converter theft? Is that included in auto thefts in this?
It would be considered under theft, and I'm only aware of one situation at the Baptist church that someone crawled underneath there and cut out the catalytic converters. That's the only one I'm aware of in Holbrook.
I see the use of force incidents went from 4 to 8 over the last year. Is there any commonality in those incidences?
We've seen a lot of violence towards us over the past few years increase, and that's an increase in violence towards perpetrators resisting arrest.
I'm sorry.
And the use for hands-on and or taser. The majority of them are taser deployments, and I believe that, so there was 7 taser deployments and 1 was hands-on, where we had to take a subject to the ground, and he got a laceration to his forehead, but he was attended to by EMS before taken to jail.
Thanks. I have one more, and that is, of course, fentanyl's on everybody's mind. I know that the Joint Task Force comes and talks about us. Is there anything you can speak of in terms of trends of your officers' encounters through the city that involve fentanyl?
What we're seeing, which is not as prevalent in some other communities, is the little M30 pills, or a small little blue pill, and that's what we're seeing. We did have several overdoses this year, but they were all revived with Narcan. But we do see an increase in that. Luckily for us, it's not as prevalent here as it is in other communities that surround us, but we do have some.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions or comments? Councilman?
Guys, be careful out there. There's too many crazies. I don't know if it's this time of year. I'm going up 14-mile hill, passing a car, and he's passing me on the downside. And the other day I was in Sholo, and the guy passed me in a turning section. I'm doing a speed limit 45, and he's doing at least 60.
Right.
I couldn't speed up to catch up to him because I was hoping I'd catch him at the light.
There's quite a bit of that all
It's
around the
crazy.
state, all around the country, and if you're aware, we had multiple fatalities between here and Snowflake last year alone, people passing in no passing zones because everyone's in a hurry.
I have one question, Mayor.
Councilman?
Chief, I know you did a no parking in front of the bank and that block. Has that helped in our accidents that we were having, which were so prevalent downtown? Has that proven to be?
It has. I can pull the stats if you want me to.
No, I mean,
but
I'm just.
it has helped to dramatically decrease the amount of accidents in that general area.
Good. I just remembered from your report last year. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. I mean, it's an inconvenience for some people, but it's I think the good outweighs the inconvenience.
Thank
There's
you.
plenty of parking in that area, on side streets anyway. So.
Any other? Nothing? Chief, thank you guys. Thank your department for your service. Appreciate what you guys do for us. Keep up the good work.
I will, thank you.
Moving on to item 8, summary of current events. Guess I gotta start first. I'll start out with basically condolences to my family, my extended family, my youngest cousin Tracy passed away last Friday. So we'll send out prayers to my other cousins, her brothers, and her sister. Also, props to everybody that participated in the parade this year. Not only the entrance, but the crowd was phenomenal. I drove my car through the parade. They had me drive my car through the parade, and I couldn't believe the amount of people that were out. I mean, it was good seeing a lot of people out, and to Cindy and the chamber, good job. Thanks for organizing that and getting it all put together. Other than that, I have nothing. I'll move on to Vice Mayor Payne. Vice Mayor Payne, do you have anything?
Just a couple of things, Mayor. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank Chief Christensen for his report and thank the city manager for forwarding me a copy to follow along with. I always look forward to it, and I was glad to see a decrease in so many areas this year. I know sometimes that's just a luck of the draw, but it looks like a lot of luck. Sounds to me like you're doing some good work too. And then second, since I wasn't able to attend the last meeting in November, I was interested to read the city manager's report, and it was a pretty meaty one. I had spoken to Ted earlier about the possibility of posting those reports on the city's website, and I'd encourage him again to do that because that's a good way to keep track of what's going on. There's a lot of good information there that you might not be able to get, and just a good summary of the work that's being done by the city crews. So again, thank you to both you men, and that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilman Dixon.
Yeah, the Parade of Lights was very good this year. Last year we didn't really have it except for the kind of a drive-through thing at the fairgrounds. And also it's been 1 year, actually 1 year tomorrow since I gave my dialogue, or excuse me, my monologue. And if anyone wants a copy of my speech from last year, I have a copy here, or you can email me and ask me for a copy of that. And my email is Tim for FOR Holbrook az@gmail.com. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councilman Moore.
A couple things. Want to welcome new business to the community at Studio 66. They're up at the hill. I haven't had a chance to go check them out yet, but I'm looking forward to it. So they're up and running. A couple things about dogs and cats. It's getting cold. Winter's coming. Bring them inside. They're cold. If you're cold, they're cold. If you are thinking or trying to ask Santa for a pet, remember that our animal shelter has a lot of different options of cuddly creatures that are happy to meet you and your family. So consider stopping by the shelter for your Christmas Santa pet needs. Thank you.
If they have any giraffes.
Councilman Nielsen.
Well, last Monday, Albert Hunt passed away. He was on his way back from the power plant. He must have forgotten something and went back, and it was just at dawn. And I don't know if you've ever driven the freeway just as the sun comes up, but it's blinding. And he was being blinded and going into the sun and slowed down, and he was rear-ended and his Jeep rolled, and he was killed. Now Albert was an amazing guy. He was a qualified electrician. He worked at the power plant as an auxiliary operator and equipment operator, but he did thousands of acts of service. He wasn't a real outwardly religious fellow, but he did his ministry through patching roofs and water lines and rewiring houses and residing and shingles, and he will surely be missed. His funeral is tomorrow at the LDS Stake Center at 11 a.m. And so if you're so inclined, that will be his funeral. Anyway, he was only 58 years old, and he was such a good guy. He was such a good guy, and he'll be missed. And our thoughts are and prayers are with Trina, his wife, and his extended family. Also, I wanted to, the community does so many things. Last Saturday, there was a breakfast with Santa that was put on as a fundraiser at the firehouse. It was so well done. And then in the festival trees that was held this year, the LDS Church, Kathleen Gardner Smith and her group did. What a wonderful thing, where we could come to see the singers and dancers and feel the spirit of Christmas. And then the parade.
You being a mermaid? Ooh.
Say that again, Francie?
She's probably just talking
Something else.
Oh, the parade was excellent. It was the warmest it's ever been for our parade. It was so well attended and so many people came. There's also one announcement I wanted to bring up, and that is the Holbrook Emergency Food Bank is having their Christmas box giveaway this Saturday at 9 a.m. We've received a lot of applications, and if you're so inclined, we could use you to pack the boxes at 7 to 9, or if you know somebody in need, please send them and we'll make sure that they have those things. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Wolford.
Yeah, so that's this Saturday?
This Saturday
Okay.
at the Holbrook Senior Center from 7 to 9 if you want help, and 9 to 11 if you're in need.
Cool. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot's happening, it's busy. Again, condolences out to the Young extended family about Tracy. That was sad to hear. And again, Trina, I went to school with Trina, so hearing about Albert, that was pretty shocking to hear. And then we just lost another long-time resident, Paul Lerma. I believe he was 103. I know he was up there, and I grew up going to his house, getting my hair cut. You know, my dad, that was monthly routine, so truly gonna be missed in the area. So, and then, kudos to Cindy Chamber, awesome job with the parade, great turnout. It was nice to see all them floats out there. I helped with the Elks Lodge float, and that was fun. So, yeah, good to see you out there, Mayor. Yeah, I waved. But, yeah. And it was warm. You didn't need a jacket, honestly, for this. It was pretty nice. So, Cradle the Tree Festival, that was pretty amazing. And yes, got 2 new businesses. I stopped by today at the 66, Studio 66, got myself a big cookie. Got quite a menu for lunch. And I did get, their hours are gonna be like Wednesday through Saturday for a while, from 7 a.m. or 7:30 to I think 6. And then I stopped at the new one here at the powwow. It's nice seeing that building occupied again. And I went in there, and I gotta go get Mom here this weekend and bring her down, because one of the cool things they have is Old Things Are New, again, is the name of it.
Okay.
And they're getting selections of candy dating all the way back to 1900.
Wow.
Yes,
Impressive.
I got to sample a couple.
Oh, fun.
Right now it's all sugar-free, they say, but it can taste sugar-free. Very good, and they got quite the collection of collectibles, antiques. It's gonna be a pretty cool little mom and pop place.
Very good.
So looking forward to, seeing that right there at the powwow. And yeah, nice seeing these businesses popping up. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kester.
First, I'd like thank Tim and Robin, who did a lot of work down on our Christmas tree downtown, and all the others that helped put up all the Christmas displays. And the Parade of Lights was a great show. My grandson was enthused and jumping around, and he enjoyed the Christmas trees at the church, and he enjoyed the pancake breakfast. So thanks to all those who helped out putting on this parade and everything else. It was a great time.
Thank you, Councilman. City Manager.
Right, I wanted to add the same thing on that Christmas parade. Wow, what a success. Thank you to all the people that attended the event. Thank you to those that helped make that event a success. It was really quite fantastic, I thought. I attended the NACOG Economic Development Council. As I mentioned at the last meeting, I'm now a member of that council. It was very productive. I made some good contacts, and there are grant opportunities, so I'll be putting in for some grants through the EDC. We had another PSPRS meeting. I again talked about that at the last meeting, working on paying down that debt, that unfunded liability. The preliminary savings are looking really, really good. We're talking about saving about $4 million and cutting our payoff from 18 years to 10 years. Again, these are preliminary numbers. We're working on them. We're gonna firm those numbers up, get the latest numbers, but things are looking really good. We're aiming for July 1st. Obviously, we'll have to budget for next year to pay that debt down, but things are looking good, and I'll keep you posted. We'll get a work session together. We can bring in the finance folks to let us know the pros and cons and the good news. Now that we have the cooler weather, our street department is doing their annual crack sealing. As you know, every year they do crack seals. We've had a lot of deferred maintenance, so they're really working hard in getting all the cracks sealed. After they get done with that, we'll start on the next phase, which will be chip sealing and fog sealing. In the meantime, of course, what we're doing is we're accumulating revenues. We're building up. It takes a lot of money to do fog sealing, chip sealing, and redo our asphalt. So every year we're doing that, taking care of that deferred maintenance, and then we get a good sum of money. We can hit a number of roads. Now we're going to be working in conjunction with the county. We have a street sweeper now, so the county can come in when they're doing their roads. We can get our roads done. And what we were missing in the past was we didn't have a street sweeper. So now after you do a chip seal, or you can come in, chips go to the side of the road, come in and sweep them up. So we're working on it. We're making progress. Again, the problem is for the asphalt in this community, it's been deferred for maintenance for many, many, many years, as you know. So the guys are working on it. And then finally, Merry Christmas. We will not be meeting at the next meeting because of Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas holiday. Remember the reason for the season. Hopefully you'll be able to spend time with your families. I'm certainly looking forward to that time. And that's all I have, Mayor, Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing. Francie,
Yes,
thank you for your thoughts on my granddaughter. Appreciated
you're
that.
very welcome. I'm so sorry to hear.
Okay, moving on to item 9, submissions of petitions for items, written petitions for items not on the agenda. Nothing?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion and a second for adjournment. You're on the ball tonight, Earl. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? No opposed. This meeting is
I didn't want you
adjourned
to have to ask.
18:33.
Did you give us this? Ted?
I think I
Yeah, I'm gonna put them in
Bye,
my truck
Francie.
tonight.